We will now call the meeting to order. We will now call the meeting to order, and with the public session. This is the agenda for the Beaufort County Board of Education being held at Hilton Head Island Middle School Media Center, 55 Wilbourn Avenue, Hilton Head, February 3rd, between 5 and 9:15 for the public session. Hybrid video conferencing provided by the County Channel. In accordance with new safety and security guidelines, bags, backpacks, and purses are prohibited by the public at Beaufort County Board of Education meetings. Requests for public comments participation will be accepted between 4 p.m. and 4:30 p.m. by sending an email with your name, phone number, and topic to robin.cushingberry@beaufort.k12.sc.us. If you are in person, you may address the board for a maximum of 3 minutes on issues within the board's domain. Each speaker must fill out a public comment card. Please see the board clerk sitting to our left, Ms. Robin Cushingberry. Requests for the second public comments will be accepted between 7 and 7:30 p.m. in the same manner as above. The public comments will take place prior to adjournment no later than 9 p.m. The second forum will be limited to 15 minutes. In the event the board has finished addressing all items listed on the February 3rd, 2026 agenda, the board will reconvene at 6 p.m. on February the 4th, 2026, the next business day, to finish the agenda items. Is there a motion for approval of the agenda?
So moved.
So moved, and second by Ms. Haight, and a motion by Mr. Nay. All right, if you will join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody.
Moment of silence, please. Thank you for the moment of silence. Ms. Cushingberry, has the media been notified? Okay, media has been properly notified. We have as a business item the election of our secretary. Is there a motion for a nomination?
Mr. Chair, I wish to nominate Victor Nay
Second.
to be Secretary of the Board.
Okay, motion by Vice Chair Carr, second by Ms. Boatwright, and all in favor, raise your right hands. Okay, those online, would you comment for your vote? Colonel Guy? Okay, Mr. Small, aye. Colonel Geyer? Colonel Geyer is aye. Is anyone else? There's a OS. Oh, that's Alfonso. All right, so it's been properly motioned, set. Yes, it's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda.
It's on the agenda. How do you vote, Mr. Smith? Okay, you abstain. All right. You voted nay? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Smith. All right, it's been properly motioned, second, and commented on. It passes. Welcome to the executive officer position, Mr. Nay. Okay. All right, points of celebration with our fabulous students and families in support of the students.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and good evening, everyone. The first item in points of celebration is Character Ed for the month of November. And tonight, we're celebrating the character trait that was in November, which was respect and gratitude. Respect is defined as showing high regard for authority, other people, self, and country. And gratitude is defined as showing that you are thankful for what others have done for you. November's Student of the Month for Southern Beaufort County is Sofia Campos Montes, a third grader at Red Cedar Elementary. And here to introduce Sofia is Principal Dr. Kathy Corley.
We are here to celebrate Sophia, and you'll see Team Sophia sitting behind me, her teacher, her tutor, her counselor, and her family. And her counselor, Mrs. Markle, is going to come up to tell you all about Sophia.
Thank you. Yes, we'd like to take just a moment and recognize Sophia's parents for being here tonight, Mario and Zulika Montez, and her grandmother, Miss Ehufima, and Miss Duncan and Miss Michaels. So we have a lot of people here to support this evening. Sophia, I'm going to share just a few of the words that were shared by your third grade team, on your behalf. Sophia is a kind student who shows gratitude in her everyday life. She always speaks and always says thank you with a smile. She listens carefully, follows classroom rules, and uses polite words like please and excuse me. Her teachers notice how thoughtful she is and how her manners make the classroom feel calm and friendly. At home, Sophia's family sees the same kindness. She says thank you for small things, like when someone hands her a snack, helps her do something, or reads a story with her. She notices the little acts of help and tells people she appreciates them. Her parents say she makes others feel happy just by being thankful. Sophia always shows gratitude by helping others. If a classmate drops something, she picks it up. If a teacher needs a hand passing out papers, she volunteers. Her thank you notes are short but sweet, and sometimes she draws a picture and gives it to a teacher or friend with a small message, thanks for helping me. Because Sophia is grateful, people want to help her and be around her. Her kindness helps everyone feel appreciated and loved. She reminds us all that saying thank you and noticing the small things make each day brighter. Congratulations, Sophia.
Next item in points of celebration is the Wordmasters Challenge perfect scores. 2 district 5th graders achieved a perfect score in the most recent Wordmasters Challenge meet, a national vocabulary competition involving nearly 125,000 students annually. Red Cedar students Virginia Frazier and Rosemary Rambo each earned a perfect score of 20 in the difficult blue division of the Wordmasters Challenge. Nationally, only 29 5th graders achieved this result. And Red Cedar's 5th grade coaches are teachers Lindley Frieden and Kelly Bauscher. We're very proud of these students and their teachers. A strong vocabulary is an important part of being able to communicate effectively, and these national recognitions show that these students and their teachers are off to a tremendous start. Here to introduce Virginia and Rosemary is Red Cedar Elementary Principal, Dr. Kathy Corley.
It's for the Wordmaster and Red Cedar. We skipped December. I don't know.
Next award this evening is the GFOA Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. The Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada announced that the Beaufort County School District have received the GFOA's Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for its budget. And here to tell us about the award is our Chief Financial Officer, Tanya Crosby.
Good evening. Thank you. Good evening. I want to introduce Katie Abar, our Director of Budgeting. She and her team and a team of many people in finance as well as the district staff have helped us to achieve an amazing feat of about a 250-page budget book that is marvelously created, and graphic designer Molly Mercado supported us to modernize the language and the look of the book, and did an amazing job. So this took a lot of effort. This is our 12th consecutive year of the award, and we anticipate improving the process even better next year. And so we're excited about making improvements and bringing it forward for a 13th year next year. So thank you.
Okay, two more. The next presentation today is Next Gen Rising Stars. And tonight I'm proud to recognize one of our own, Ashley Gould, Director of Readiness, as a 2025 Next Gen Rising Star. This national honor celebrates emerging leaders under 40 whose innovation, leadership, and dedication to student success are shaping the future of education. The Next Gen Rising Stars are known for their bold ideas, collaborative spirit, and measurable impact, and Ashley exemplifies all of these qualities. Through her leadership of her early childhood initiatives and her commitment to advancing meaningful district-wide work, Ashley is helping build a stronger future for our schools, our students, and our community. Please join me in congratulating Ashley Gould on this well-deserved recognition. Next, I'm going to ask Glenn Frazier to join me up here. He's our Director of Transportation. And I want to take a moment to recognize Ms. Carrie Brown, one of our bus drivers, one of our transportation specialists, who goes about her work every day and exemplifies the very best of the Beaufort County School District. From what I understand, it was brought to my attention that Carrie, when she goes about her route every morning, greets our students with the utmost smile, with the utmost excitement and energy, welcoming them onto her bus and saying goodbye at the end of the day. Incredibly special because Carrie gets those students' day started on the right path every single day. And we want her to know that that does not go unnoticed and that we appreciate what she does every day to make our students have a great day. Mr. Dallas, that concludes our points of celebration today.
I would like to say thank you, Superintendent Rodriguez, to not only the families who are here to support the young ones, but also the adults and the leaders of your respective departments who ensure that transportation and other functions are executed with so much discipline and precision. So thank you for that. Ms., are there any public comments? Okay, no public comments. Clock update?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My name is Ray Warco, and I am the chair of the 2023 referendum. But I am here to talk about both referendums that are currently underway in the district. And by the way, 2019 is so close to being finished. And from what I understand, give the group another month, and then I think at the next report, we'll be able to say, we're done. We're done with 2019. But let me tell you a little bit about what the clock does. I know you've already seen the results of the construction, but the clock group meets on a monthly basis. And what we do is we ascertain that the budget ties back to the referendum. In other words, what the voters said they would approve, the budget meets what the voters have said. And there have been no, on the 2019 and the 23, there have been no changes to that referendum. So that means that the taxpayers will not have any additional assessments. And I think that's a positive statement going forward. We receive monthly reports, the clock does, from the administration. And what they do is they report spending and they report the committed contracts. And we make sure that those things for every particular project tallies up and does not exceed. And if, by the way, the payments that are made from the district are always less than what the percentage of completion is on the contracts, which means they're not paying in advance. And that's exactly what I think that's a good practice, and that is continued throughout those programs. We are sensitive, though, to the level of contingencies, and we want to make sure that the contingency amounts are there for the remainder of the project. And to date, that has not been any issue whatsoever. So the contingencies still exist. One other thing is we do visit the construction sites. And I know that we are there whenever the groundbreaking occurs, and we're always there for at least a representative. We're there when the ribbon cutting, but there's steps in between. So what we do is we don the hard hats, we put on the reflective vests, and we go out and we tromp through and make sure that things look okay. I'm not a construction expert, but there are some construction experts on that team. One thing I found out was that the administration builds a mock-up of what the outside of the building is supposed to look like. And what that typically is, it's probably about 10 feet long, about 12 feet high, and it shows what the building should look like whenever it's completed. The administration folks come by, look at it, and said, that's exactly what we said. During the construction, if they can spot where something doesn't look right, they pull the subcontractor over and say, that does not meet what we said we wanted. And that gets corrected right away before the thing is completed. And I always think that's a good thing. And in the very end, the construction is approved by the state of South Carolina. So that means that as far as we're concerned, the building is built the way it should be, and once the state says it's okay, it's good to go. Initially, we started out with 8 participants on the clock, and they were from different varied backgrounds, and that was important. Now, that original 8 has dwindled down to 3. Some of them moved away. Some of them decided they didn't want to do it any longer. Some got elected to the school board, and they couldn't do both things. And so now from the original 8, we're down to 3. And last month, we were notified that one of the participants, for health reasons, needs to retire away from clock. And that is Rich Trischler. So he's been on this school board before, and we wished him well. We wish him well. He will attend one more clock meeting, and that'll be it. But that's my report for this evening. Are there any questions that I can answer or attempt to answer from the group?
Members? Yes, Ms. Boatright.
I just want to say thank you. It's been tremendous having the support of the clock, and it's great when you're in the community and people have questions and that they know that there is this, very experienced group of people overseeing it. And I just want to say also, driving in here, I used to go to Hilton Head High almost every day when I had kids in the high school. This is my first year I haven't. It's so impressive, that building and what it looks like, and it's on schedule, it's on budget. So that's in no small part to you guys. So thank you so much.
Well, I would love to take credit for that, but we didn't design it, we didn't build it, we weren't there making sure that things were in order like they should be. It's the folks here on the side of the room that have done that.
And not to take away from that at all, but I think with all due respect, the level of trust that you've engendered with our community has been very helpful.
Well, I thank you, and I appreciate that comment. And I will take it back to the other members.
Yes, Mr. Ney?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We've gone from 8 to 2 now, so the burden is shouldered by 2 people. Is there a plan to?
The burdens, there are more on the committee that we've replaced along the way, and
Gotcha.
I've got.
Oh, we're 8 original down to 2 of the original.
That's what he's saying.
Gotcha. All right.
That's what I meant to say.
Yes.
And by the way, I always think it's good to get new blood in there because
Agreed.
they have fresh ideas on the way things ought to be conducted.
What is the current attendance of the clock? How many members do we have right now on the clock?
We have 8, but of course, we need to have a quorum, so that means 5 need to be in attendance. At least 5 need to be,
Gotcha.
no, I'm sorry, 4 need to be in attendance. But we have some that are there, and we have some that are on Zoom, just like here at this evening.
Understood. Thank you.
Any other questions from those here in the room or online? Okay,
Thank you. You're welcome.
thank you very much. Okay, moving to the chair's report. Moving to the chair's report. All right, so one of the things that the chair gets to do is to identify and select the committee chairs. And that is a very sobering responsibility because you want to ensure that we're matching talents and personalities and experience with the needs of the board and the district. So with that, we'd like to go forward and identify the people that have been selected for the 4 chairs, 4 committees that we're standing up. 3 are standing committees, and the 4th will be a legislative committee. So for academics, we have Dr. David Carr as the chair. We have Pastor Gordon as a member, and we have Mr. Ney as a member. The next committee is finance. We have Colonel Geyer as the chair. We have Mr. Ney as a member, and we have Mr. Small as a member. The next operations, and we have Mr. Ney as chair, and we have Dr. Carr as a member and Pastor Gordon as a member. For legislative, we have Dr. Carr, Pastor Gordon, and Mr. Ney. For Beaufort Jasper Ace, we have Colonel Geyer, we have Mr. Small, and we have our colleague, Mr. Smith, who's been on the board before. So those are the 4 committees that are being stood up tonight. And we want to thank you all for answering the call and saying yes and supporting the effort to make the district even better through your committee participation. There are 3 other committees that we're not going to stand up at this time, and I'll explain why. Those are results, policy, and technology. We want to give all of our board members the opportunity to take a look at what their schedule will allow, what their inclination is, where their passion lies, and then see if they will want to be a part of those 3 remaining committees. So we will address those at a later date in the very near future. We still have more talent on the board to draw from, but we want to make sure we're not overloading our people in terms of adding too many people to a committee and then their challenges in terms of their personal time. We've already identified the board secretary, but in continuation of the chair's report, I'd like to share a couple of things that we're looking at, have in mind. One is, as a nerd, I've read the entire policy manual going back to, I think it's September or February of 2021 when it was approved. That is our guiding document. And one of the things we want to do is to ensure that we're keeping that policy manual current and that we update it each time we create a new rule via the board that should be added to the policy document. And so we're going to be talking to people who will be willing to take that on and exhibit the discipline necessary to make sure we stay current day in and day out. And so anytime we want to know how we're supposed to act as a board, behave as a board, that is right there as our guiding document. We're also looking at a policy workshop to calibrate and ensure that the group learning relative to the policy committee is not just the committee members, it's the entire board. So we're going to ask each of the board members to sit through and help direct the review of the policy manual. And from that group will come certainly people who are qualified and interested, and one of those we expect to be nominated or selected as chair of a future policy committee, certainly in the not too distant future. The other thing is, I want to note that we all come to the board with very different backgrounds, experiences, inclinations, and what have you, and that is an advantage. But it also means we aren't all calibrated in our knowledge of all these policies. And it will improve our effectiveness and efficiency if we all sort of get to the same spot and then leap forward, understanding as changes occur in the near future. So that's the idea. So we're going to ask you to do that as well. And I hope you all will join me in addressing an issue of board development. So one of the things we want to make sure we are doing is, just as the administration invests in the teachers' professional development days, we would like the board to take a look at actually investing in our board members. And so we can identify where Carlton is weak, many things, but which is the one that's most pressing. And that is something that we want to be able to make a commitment to. And so we're looking at a possible work session where we actually can bring in someone that can facilitate a board development type session and help everyone get elevated. Now, you may say, well, where does that lead? So one of the things that I know one board member who is very talented in a particular area, many areas, but one in particular is technology. I'm a technophobe, not a technophile. I hate technology basically because I'm not good at it. But one of the things that's really interesting is when forced to learn, I do. And so one of the things we want to do is, certainly the administration is going to be looking at future iterations of technology platforms and software. That's just normal. Not saying you're going to need to do anything, but at least a review. But the first thing we want to do is make sure that the employee workforce knows we are willing to invest in you as a human being and improve your skill set on the existing platforms, so that everyone becomes better at utilization of what we currently have, so that no one feels like technology is going to supplant you as a valuable asset to the school district. So I want to make sure that we're sharing that with you. Now, if I could double back to the board retreat, Colonel Guy really was the one that sort of put that into our minds as a board. And so we're trying to continue that. Initially looking at a half day, because in discussing committees, we know there's so many commitments, so many people have, and you're doing so many good things contributing to society. We don't want to overload you. So we're going to try to do it in possibly a half day of a work session, so we're not tying you up for an entire additional day and those types of things. So one of the things is the collaboration. And one of the things we'll be looking at is how do we ensure we come together as a team. We are a team now, but how do we improve? And there's always room for improvement. So that is the chair's report for this afternoon. And if there are no questions, we'll move on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, actually, I do have
Okay, go ahead.
more of a comments to the chair's report. I do think there's I do have a bit of a concern when we have someone coming from the officers chairing two committees, because I really don't think that you're giving, my understanding is that iron sharpens iron, and I believe that every board member have some type of leadership skills, and I think that we're not allowing each other to show different talents and also to learn, because no one is made perfectly. So I do definitely see an issue with that, and then also I see an issue that all of our officers, in terms of the whole board, are from one side of the broad. And seeing county council, that didn't work out too well. And I think that the officers should be, it shouldn't just be from one side. Some officers should be from north, some officers should be from south. So when I look at the board, so I mean, are we telling the community that there's no talent on the south of the broad? I mean, I'm excusing the north of the broad, because all of the officers come from the south of the broad. So I mean, I'm a little disturbed by that as well. So those are some concerns, and I'm not sure that's what the board wants to send out to the community. But I just don't think, in all my years of being on the board and even watching the school boards, we've never had all the officers come from one side of the broad, and that is a little disturbing, a little different. And I think if we're going to package and we're going to say that we are encompassing everybody and everything, then I think that is something that we have to talk about, because no representation is definitely, and no seat at the table is definitely an issue. So I just want to point those things out. This is something that I've never seen, or I've never seen in all my years, and that's probably about within at least 11 years, I would say, probably all officers coming from one side of the broad.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Appreciate your input. Okay, superintendent's report.
Thank you, sir. First, on the superintendent's report, or the item we have for today, is an early childhood update under student achievement. Dr. Stratos and award-winning Ashley Gould is going to be here to do the presentation.
Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez, and thank you, Chairman. I do want to take an opportunity of introducing Ashley Gould, our Director of Readiness, and also joining her this evening is Dr. Rebecca Stemple. She is a coordinator of early childhood. So with that, I'm going to bring forward Ashley to the podium. Thank you, board members.
Good evening. Thank you for the opportunity to present to you this evening about school readiness and early childhood. I'm Dr. Rebecca Stemple, the coordinator of early childhood and parent education. Some of the items this evening that we are going to be focusing on are traveling preschool bus, the learning lab, purposeful play-based kindergarten, START-UP program, and conscious discipline. Starting out first, I'd like to go over our Beaufort County School District Integrated and Comprehensive Early Childhood System. This is a system that prepares children to be successful for kindergarten and beyond. Each key component that you see here in this system is included because it creates a wraparound system to support readiness. It emphasizes first early identification, which you can see in our Child Find developmental screenings, to our strong community partnerships with organizations such as Head Start and our Early Childhood Coalition. Our high-quality standards-based curriculum and instruction is responsive to data-driven practices, ensuring instruction is informed and improved, in which all children are included and supported in our early childhood classrooms. Then wrapping around to our family partnerships, we empower our parents to be our child's first and most important teacher, And you can see that in our programs with our award-winning Parents as Teachers in-home visitation program and our traveling preschool bus. As the pieces of this system work in sync, children get the support they need to thrive. Our early childhood system is backed by neuroscience research, which identifies the importance of building the foundation in those early years. Research shows that 90% of a child's brain is developed by the age of 5. This is the fastest period of brain growth development and when the brain is most flexible. As you can see in the chart below, the Center on the Developing Child at Harvard shows the synapses formation is dependent on those early learning experiences. Sensory pathways, language, and higher cognitive functioning are all developing and need to be nurtured with high, impactful experiences. This key research stresses the importance of early prevention in early years of learning. Thus the purpose behind our system. One program that's building on impactful early childhood experiences is the Beaufort County School District Traveling Preschool Bus. This bus is a preschool classroom on wheels that has been changing lives of thousands of children and families over the past 30 years. The positive impact the bus has made on our community is a key component to our early childhood system, as it has eliminated barriers to early learning, helps families meet their basic needs, collaborate across agencies, and build strong readiness for school success for both our English and Spanish-speaking families. We meet families where they are, going directly into their community, into their neighborhood, into their apartment complex, to their local grocery store, and connecting with them and building relationships, even before they need us, which is possibly their first connection to the school district. Our prior bus has been having some maintenance issues, as you can see in the 2024-2025 data, as our number of participants were a little lower. But this bus will still be in operation, as it will be stationed at our Bluffton office, providing special education services and parent education. So I invite you this evening to attend tomorrow at the Port Royal Elementary School for the ribbon cutting of our new traveling preschool bus, and you can see the bus in action with children and families in our community.
I'm Ashley Gould. I am the Director of Readiness for the district. I'm here to talk to you about the rest of the presentation tonight. We are excited to announce that our observation classroom and learning lab is complete. I know some of you have heard about that presentation in the past. We have a video tonight to show, but just so that you know that we have done some slight construction in this classroom to make sure that we have an observation window, and then that looks into the classroom. Our first opportunity for this observation classroom to be in use was with our parents of our upcoming 4-year-olds. We allowed, during screening, our parents to watch the developmental screening process. So about 2 weeks ago, we invited all of those families that were coming in for a developmental screening to come watch that process through the observation window. Robin, are you ready? And we're going to look at the video of this classroom so you have an opportunity to see it. While she's pulling that up, I will remind you, this was a grant opportunity that we were in partnership with the Low Country Coastal Community Foundation, as well as the Low Country, as well as University of South Carolina, Beaufort.
Developing high-quality teachers and strengthening our high-quality early learning begins with teachers. That classroom allows educators to learn. So let us test it. Here, observation isn't just watching. understanding child development and best practice as it happens. Our future teachers and current educators, developmentally appropriate practice and action. Efficiency. In the classroom, play is not just play. Play is problem solve and learn through intentional hands. Collaboration, early literacy and math foundations, and the joy of learning. This lab classroom and coaching, so they enter classrooms confident and prepared. Our in-service teachers will also benefit from ongoing training, reflection, and mentorship opportunities. Different about these two B's. Together, we are raising the bar for early childhood education. Don't forget your This work is possible because of a strong community partnership. We are honored to collaborate with the University of South Carolina Beaufort, the foundation of the Low Country. Together, we are investing in children, in educators, and in the future of our community. As the purposeful play-based, excited to see teachers grow through this lab classroom experience, while connecting students to the knowledge, skills, and quotient intelligence skills needed. When we invest in early childhood education, we invest in strong families, a strong school, and a strong future. Is that Allison? We are so excited to ensure that all of our youngest learners and our teachers thrive.
So that classroom is up and running. I encourage you, next time you're at Hilton Head Early Childhood Center, to go by and check that classroom out. We are also incorporating 3 of those across the district. So 1 at Hilton Head Early Childhood Center, 1 at Mossy Oaks Elementary School, and then when the new ECC is built on the campus of River Ridge Academy, we'll incorporate 1 into the new build. Moving on to the next, keeping in mind that as we prepare our teachers and our existing teachers for success in the classroom, we listened to our teachers. They needed something to help them with behaviors in our classrooms and helping our children self-regulate and become self-starters and independent learners. One thing that we're doing as a district is incorporating a system called conscious discipline. We have had our first round of training. So October 20th, our administrators, principals, assistant principals, counselors, behavior management specialists, and social workers came in and received a first overview training of the system. And then January 6th, we received our part 1 of the training for the actual kindergarten and pre-kindergarten teachers and assistants, along with our SPED itinerant workers, so those who are working in the school buildings helping with our SPED students. And February 13th will be our second part 2 round. And with that being said, we are going to begin implementing that over a series of times. So as this cohort of kindergarten and pre-K students move up, we will then train our 1st and 2nd grade teachers all the way through the 6th grade. This will allow us to have some common language with our students, some common practices, and our students will be able to become self-starters, be able to self-regulate in the classroom to avoid those escalated behaviors. All right, most of you are familiar that we this year have taken additional funding for pre-kindergarten called our CERDEP funding. As a reminder, that funding comes down through 2 ways. One, if it comes through public school districts, it's given straight to the school districts and the schools implement that program. The other way is through our private child care providers. So the funding comes down through First Steps and then is given to those private child care providers that qualify for that funding. With the expansion of our pre-kindergarten program, you see the 45th day enrollment is up compared to last year. We have seen a steady trend in enrollment since post-pandemic. So we've seen that climb, with this year being our first year as those numbers are at that height of those numbers. This is also contributed to our eligibility requirements. So keep in mind, CERDEP has its own eligibility requirements. And then the school district, our Beaufort County, also sets a limit of eligibility. So with CERDEP funding, We first accept those children who qualify for Medicaid-based services, along with a certain percentage that fall developmentally. The state determines a developmental score that also can qualify them for the program. Beaufort County School District also sets an eligibility requirement to accept children. And this year we took children starting below the 75th percentile. That has been a drastic increase from years past. We started allowing more children into the program to not only help with increasing enrollment numbers, but also allowing mixed ability levels within the classroom to give children learn best off of each other, right? So we allowed our children to enter the program to help with that as well. With CERDEP funding came a new set of regulations with that. We now have to follow the State Department of Education guidelines for CERDEP, which is, there's lots of classroom requirements, there are lots of upgrades that we have to do. It also came this year for those non-CERDEP classrooms, they have to be licensed by Department of Social Services. So the same child care licensing regulations that a private child care center has to follow, now the district has to follow as well. So we are working closely with facilities, HR, each department in order to fulfill those requirements and make sure that our classrooms are up to date with all requirements and compliance within the state. Our Purposeful Play-Based Initiative is an ongoing initiative. We know that purposeful play is making a difference in the district. We see that with our numbers in first, second, and third grade. We know that purposeful play experiences allow for success for kindergarten and beyond. And that means that play is an integral part of how children develop. They learn self-start, how to self-start. They learn executive functioning skills, problem solving, critical thinking. And we see that in the work of our students. So play is often talked about as if it was a relief from serious learning. But for our children, play is serious learning. Play is really the work of childhood. And that's a quote from our good friend, Mr. Rogers, who was an integral part in making sure that children are receiving developmentally appropriate practices.
Okay, fantastic. If I may share, Ms. Gould, I had a chance to speak with you momentarily before the meeting started, and you showed a lot of enthusiasm about what was happening, and you were smiling as you were presenting. Can you share what made you so enthusiastic in our conversation, please?
Well, early childhood is my passion, if you can't tell. But the work that we are doing in early childhood is truly making a difference in our community. I have seen the early childhood program grow from 6 staff members, now up to 32 of us that make a direct impact with children every single day. Each one of those it takes a true team. I can't do this work by myself. And with the support of the board and our senior staff, we've allowed to grow that team in order for really the community to see a different and have an impact in overall education.
Okay, first of all, as chair, I apologize for going first in questions. So any other board members have any questions? Yeah, Ms. Smith.
So my question is, in those schools that you're opening up, what grade levels are you serving in there?
In the school, the new ECC,
Yeah.
we are looking at early childhood special education. We are looking at pre-kindergarten and kindergarten, possibly a transitional kindergarten type program.
Do we have some of those at our current schools now? Do we not have some of those now?
We have early childhood special education, and we have pre-kindergarten. We have piloted a couple of transitional kindergarten type program throughout the district, but those change based on the children's needs.
Also, I remember talking a while back. We were talking about in some of our schools that where we may have space, because I know y'all been dying to get an office on this side of the Broad. So my question was, my question would be also, even on the north side, in buildings that we may have openings, have you guys looked to grow into some of those classes? But also, how have we encompassed in terms of growth, understanding what other programs that are out in the district now? I mean, not in the district, excuse me, that are out in the community. How have we coincided with them with what we got going on? Because I think a lot of times, what I was being at a meeting the other day is that a lot of different people have resources, and we're not. And it seems as though that a lot of people are not pooling their resources together. In terms of you have Miss Parker, something I forgot what it is downtown, but you have different things like I think it's first step, head start. How are we bringing them to the table to get them on board to engage in what we have going on?
So the Office of Early Childhood has relocated to Port Royal Elementary School. So we were at the district office. As far as this last summer, we moved into Port Royal Elementary School, utilizing some of those classrooms that were not quite at capacity. We still have the Pink House on the campus of Ladies Island Middle School, but that's going through some transition as well. With the new ECC, we have incorporated some space in the Bluffton area for our Office of Early Childhood. So we'll be able to do developmental screenings. We'll also be able to offer itinerant services and community-based services for those children over here in Bluffton in a building.
Okay, Mr. Smith, let me go to someone else.
She didn't finish my question.
No. Let me go to someone else.
No problem. Go ahead.
All right, anyone else got a question from the board? All right.
Thank you. So basically, I think CERDEP is a legislative priority, a requirement that's relatively new and gets updated annually. It's been around 2 or 3 years now, CERDEP?
CERDEP has been around for several years. Beaufort County has only been eligible for CERDEP funds for about 3 or 4 years.
So from an operational sort of coherent governance policy, basically you are coming to present compliance with the requirements of CERDEP. And from your presentation, it sounds like you've hit all of them. The one I was hoping to hear just a little bit more about was the requirement for parental engagement. If you could just talk about the stuff that you're doing to bring the parents in as well as the kids.
Sure. It is a requirement from the state that we do advertise to all families that we hold developmental screenings to see if your child is eligible for the program. So we offer that throughout the county. CERDEP also requires an additional 3 parent-teacher conferences a year. So with an addition to a parent orientation. So our families come in for an orientation, and then they receive, in addition to that, 3 parent-teacher conferences, and those have to be one-on-one with the parent, which is a great opportunity for our teachers to talk with the parents about their child's development, but also really get the parents. This is the first experience some parents have had in our district. So in order to help parents understand that they are their child's first and most important teacher, the best way to do that is get them involved in the school building. And so those parent-teacher conferences have to be signed off on, and they're monitored by the State Department of Ed.
Any other questions? And then I'll come back to you, Ms. Smith. Let me check Mr. Colonel Geyer, who's online, and Mr. Small. Any questions? Thank you, Colonel. Mr. Small? No questions. All right, Mr. Smith.
Yeah, I just wanted to circle back to my last question. Once again, I just want to know, how are we engaging those partners, the First Step Head Start? How are we engaging them in what we're doing? Because eventually what will happen if we're lucky enough to get some of these other students, because there's so much competition out there now, those kids' scores will become our scores. So how are we engaging other vehicles that are in the community, like First Step and Head Start, into what we're doing?
So today, we did our reunification drill at the district office. Head Start was in attendance to make sure that we are doing our professional development together, making sure that we're planning for crises or any type of emergency together. I had a conversation with Head Start just the other day about how we can get them in the Bluffton area. So as we begin to expand the buildings and build new buildings, that is one of our items on our agenda, is to make sure that we incorporate them in some of our plans.
How about First Step with them as well?
We still hold a seat on the First Steps board. So Rebecca sits on the board for First Steps. So we're attending their monthly meetings and working with them, on a weekly basis. We talk to First Steps quite a bit.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. That was my question.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Ms. Smith.
Just
Yes, sir.
want to highlight a couple of brief things from her presentation. First of all, don't forget, tomorrow at 1 p.m., Port Royal Elementary School, the preschool bus ribbon cutting ceremony for the bus.
Weather permitting.
Weather permitting.
But I will let you know in the morning. Yeah.
All right. Secondly, she mentioned about the observation classroom and learning lab. That is such a critical component because it's one of the greatest ways to develop the capacity of staff. I had one of those in elementary school where I was a principal, and we used it all the time, and it was a great way to develop our skill sets and improve and receive feedback, and a great way to learn. So this is really I think an important component that we have in play now. And then the last thing, this CERTEP requirement of parent-teacher conferences, I think that is another critically important step because it gets helps to get parents in the habit of staying connected and engaged in terms of how their child is doing in school. And one of the things I'd like to see is to make sure that transitions into first grade, second grade, third grade, fourth grade, and continues that relationship of those parent-teacher conferences and opportunities with parents and staff. So thank you for your presentation today.
Thank you, Ms. Gould, and everyone else.
And
Wait a minute. I just want to say one thing. All right, the next item is board business action. Coming forward with that? Me?
I believe this is
Oh, I know.
this is a board's item regarding schedule and agendas.
Yes, okay. So, Ms. Cushingberry, can you help me define this as well? And I'll give you the general overview. So the board passed a motion, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 meetings ago to actually change the agenda, which we are adhering to in this particular last 2 sessions. And so it has some implications for the celebration, bringing the kids in at a time that they can get here. So starting at 5, so I asked Ms. Cushingberry if she could speak to what the pinch points are, and the board can say we're okay with what we're doing now, or we should take some further action. But I'll leave it to you, Ms. Cushingberry.
Well, actually, this is a brainchild from another board member, Ms. Boatwright. With the board's vote on starting the meeting at 5 o'clock, and with executive session being in the after the meeting, it was suggested that we change our agenda. So by starting at 5 o'clock, we're moving up board action, the committee reports and superintendent's reports, and then maybe by 6 o'clock or 6:30, then we can go to points of celebration, student performance and points of celebration. So it's just rearranging the items on the agenda and giving board members more time to handle the business of the board at 5 at the beginning and getting all of the board's business out of the way. And then say by 6, if we look at where we are now, right now it's 6 o'clock. So we would be doing points of celebrations and student performance at this time. So, and then executive session being at the end of the meeting. So that's the suggestion, and that's what that means.
Okay, so Ms. Boatwright's laughing. Ms. Boatwright, would you like to I'm sorry to call you on.
Yes, we had a good conversation. I am very committed to making our meetings effective and efficient. And so she and I were talking about it, and Ms. Cushenberry, how long have you been the board secretary? A long, you're a very experienced,
20 years.
knowledgeable, knows, and so she was kind of sharing with her some of the concerns about moving the time, which I think was a motion I made to 5 o'clock. So the couple of key things is, number one, the South Carolina School Board Association's recommendation is that executive session be at the end of the meeting. And as far as I can tell, the majority of boards, certainly the larger boards in South Carolina, have it at the end. One of the reasons for that is because you don't know how long it's going to take. And so there are frequently periods where we're like, oh, we've only got 7 minutes left. Let's look at this $2 million amendment. So executive session has a lot of really high dollar value and important stuff. So putting it at the end of the meeting allows better discussion. That did cause some problems from Ms. Cushenberry's sort of experience. And so she recommended that we look at moving student performances. But the other benefit of that would be that it front loads some of the more business-oriented action that we could take and have those discussions rather than put them to the end where everyone's kind of gone through a lot of different things and is feeling tired. And it allows the sort of the higher importance items at the front. So we thought this was a good suggestion to the board. It would allow us to start our meeting at 5 o'clock, have our student performances, and then have return, and we could set student performance, I think you said at 6 o'clock, right? Set the student performances at 6. If we need to have more meetings after, we could continue the meeting after the student performances, and then we would have time to look at executive session at the end of the meeting. So that's pretty
Okay.
much what we're proposing.
Any other board member? Mr. Smith?
Well, my concern in this is that we're moving the important executive session things at the end of the meeting, but also we say in one hand, I mean, because what I don't want to have is to say when you look at the executive sessions, some of these matters going to, you may have an employee matter, you may have different matters that comes to the board, and you have staff that bring these matters to the board. And one minute we'll say, well, oh, we don't want our employees to be here late. They may have to travel or go home or feed kids or different things. So, in other words, I don't want to watch the baby with the bathwater or however it goes. But we can, to me, I saw nothing wrong with how we had it, because on one hand we're saying, oh, we cared about staff, and the reason why we have it is so that staff could get things done and staff could get things out of the way, and they could call different people and do different things. That was the point of having executive session earlier in terms of the ratification report and in terms of this legal issues. So there were several things that we talked about was the reason why, because we talked about changing it. We talked about changing it before, and there were several. Like I said, there were several things, and I know there's certain times when we hear, oh, we don't want to have district employees here late. So my thing is this: if this is what we're going to do, then I don't want to hear that anymore. Then that excuse is out the door. Because as a board, we're saying that we're having an executive session at the end of the meeting, and so therefore it's not, if we're saying that, oh, we don't want to be rushed, then it shouldn't be a question. Moving forward, this is where we're going to finally put this, and this is where we're going to have it at. It can't be about employees need to get home, or we having it late, because when this first conversation first started, that was a bullet that was bought out, and I don't hear it right now, but I just wanted to be candid about it, so that we're not having that conversation. We're not having that conversation either again. So that's why I just want to put that out there.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Pastor Gordon, any comments? Colonel Guy or Mr. Small? Thank you, Colonel. Mr. Small?
It's like it is right now. I had an executive session at the beginning. Instead of at the end. Because
Actually, yes, ma'am, were you getting ready to say something? Mr. Small, we have a voting segment, action is necessary or appropriate regarding matters discussed in executive session after the executive session. So there is space on this current agenda to vote immediately coming out of executive session. Thank you. Yes, ma'am, Ms. Boatright.
To respond to Mr. Smith, I see I think what's nice about the employee portion is that right now the full staff of leadership has to stay for the meeting portion because they may be called upon for a question in public session. Generally speaking, we usually have specific people that know they have to stay for executive session, and so they can plan accordingly. When we have the executive session at the front, then they have to wait until the board meeting's over. So this way, once the board meeting's over, ostensibly, 6:30, 7 o'clock, the majority of the staff can go home, especially those who, are driving from different distances, and only those, Ms. Walton or one of her designated appointees, and Mr. Otting generally would be the ones that stay, and everyone else could go home. So I think there's an advantage to the employees. To me, there's two things I want to say that is important for this. One, I think when you're doing something differently than everyone else, you're either really right or they're right. And I think that the fact that we're doing it differently and the fact that the South Carolina School Boards Association recommends executive session, I think there's a reason they do that. I don't think it's just sort of a choice. The second thing is, I don't like doing executive session where we kind of guess at the length of time it's going to take, because quite frequently we end up feeling rushed to get through things, or we feel like we can't really have the discussion. And if you think about the things in executive session, legal matters, employee matters, large ticket construction projects, those aren't the kinds of things I want to see rushed. So that's why I think it's good to put the executive session at the end. I think Ms. Cushenberry's suggestions to modify the agenda to accommodate that were genius. So that's just kind of what I want to respond to about the employee thing.
Yeah. Yes, sir. And I will say, well, and there has been times where people have driven from across country, or came in and met with us the time the doctor talked to us in the executive session about I think it was something. It was something. I think it was during the COVID time. There was a couple times,
yeah.
right? There were several times where we've had people who've come down and who have talked to us, and we've actually moved them up to the front of the agenda. To the executive session. And I just want to once again remind you that to do that, it takes an exigent emergency. And so I don't want to be having meetings where we're choosing now, because this person needs to get back to Columbia, or this attorney here needs to get back to wherever they're coming from. That executive session is at we were moving it from the end of the meeting to the beginning of the meeting. So, I mean, there were several times where I remember us having people in executive session. And a couple times, remember, they were placed in executive session because they need to meet with the board one time and get on the road. So I mean, it's those things too. And I think that I'll conclude that. And I also think that Mr. Smalls was just saying that he prefer voting on executive session and taking the important getting the important business done on the front hand. I didn't think he understood that you could vote later, but I think he was basically saying that he would prefer it to stay the way it is, and I just leave that there. But yeah, so that's just to my point. Thank you.
Okay, are there any other further comments on the?
I was going to make a motion.
Sure.
That we adopt the agenda, the test agenda as presented in board business action.
Okay, it's properly motion. Is
Second.
Second by Mr. Carr. All right, properly motion. Second, all in favor of adopting the current agenda that we're using tonight, raise your hands. All opposed? Mr. Small or Colonel Geyer, your vote? Aye. Okay, aye. Okay.
Smith, nay.
Okay, so Mr. Smith, nay. Mr. Small? Okay, so we have 2 nays out of 9, so it's 7-2, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, so we continue as has been suggested. Thank you, Ms. Cushenberry, for working with Ms. Boatright to make sure this goes forward. Thanks, everybody, for your comments. Any motion on the consent agenda?
Mr.
Chair, I move that we approve the consent agenda.
There's a second? Second by Pastor Gordon. Any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
The only thing I'd like to say is that I had some hesitation about having the school improvement plans on the consent agenda. I know they were presented, and we were unable to take a vote because we didn't have quorum for that. I will say I let it stay on the consent agenda because I did go watch it, so I just wanted people to know that I did do the due diligence. I'm sure others did as well, so I'm okay with it staying on the consent agenda. But I do have concerns in the future that when we have those kinds of presentations, we don't have quorum. We need to figure out a plan for doing that because I don't want people to think that we're consent agenda school turnaround plans.
Yeah, no problem with that. That's a good suggestion. Okay, it's been properly motioned and second. All in favor? Aye. Those opposed? Online, Mr. Small or? Aye. Mr. Small? Okay, so it passes. You were nay though, right? You, okay, passed unanimously, okay. Future agenda topics.
I feel like I'm talking. It just, to piggyback off my last comments, I think we need to have a discussion about board attendance. And I have missed the last part of the last meeting for an unexpected sort of thing, but I think we need to talk about what our policy is, how board members notify the chair, how we make sure that we have participation, because I think it reflects poorly on the board if we're struggling to make quorum and we're going to be down at least one board member. So I think that's something we should talk about maybe as part of the policy workshop.
It is definitely, if I may, planned to be a part of the policy workshop, tracking attendance. Also, for those that take the educational courses that we're proposing that board members accept, that there'll be some type of uplift for actually taking and improving our skill set. So totally in support of what you're saying, Ms. Boatwright. Okay? Good. Okay. Announcements? Yes, Mr. Smith.
Actually, I wanted to say it before the young lady left, but she told me to give you a second. But the board used to get notifications to the board or calendar invites when people were having things, and she just notated that they were having something on the on tomorrow, the ribbon cutting. Board members used to get those, and I don't know what it is now. We get some. But then some, they send us flyers. And I always tell people if they want me to attend something, and I don't mind coming, I don't mind making time for it, please send me a calendar invite. And we used to get a lot of calendar invites. I notice now we only get a couple of them. Just like also they were having the student meetings at different schools. We used to get calendar invites to that. I didn't personally. I don't remember getting a calendar invite to the students meeting, the students meeting with the superintendent. I don't remember getting a calendar invite to those. So I noticed a lot of things that we used to get calendar invites to, that we don't get those things anymore. So I just wanted to tell people, so if you send us a flyer, and the board member, sometimes we may look at it and we may not come because sometimes, don't take it personal, but if you send us a calendar invite, I think that when we hit yes or no, that's a little different, and most time we're inclined to come if we sign up for it. So I just wanted to make that announcement. That's it. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Any other?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Next week is, Dr. Stratos, is it the beginning on the 10th? Next week, is it beginning on Wednesday the 10th, or Thursday the 11th? Thursday the 11th, the 12th, and the 13th is our African American History Education Conference. So just a reminder for everybody.
Okay. Any other?
This is the start of Black History Month, good, great celebration of Black History Month. So yeah, happy heritage. Thank you.
Thank you all. Anything else? Okay, second public comments, Ms. Cushingberry? Okay, our friend Mr. Miller.
Thank you again, Board, for allowing me to speak. This past weekend, well, I should say Friday, because Saturday was canceled, was the all-county band concert, where students prepared auditions and were granted a seat, and they practiced on Friday, and they would have then also practiced Saturday morning, and then would have had a concert on Saturday or afternoon. It was condensed into just Saturday. I was glad to be able to volunteer and help with that program a little. But as a summary of it, I've prepared a document, a table, as I have for the last 3 years, that shows what schools account for rank of the number of students that get into the program or qualify with these auditions. For example, I don't see too much change, but some significant change from last year. As you might think every school ought to have about the same, but as you probably know, that is not the true. For example, the middle school band, the top 2 participating schools out of the 8 middle schools account for 74% of the students in that program, which kind of says, you know, that disparity has been in the past. On the bottom side, 4 of the 8 accounted for only 1 student. 4 of the 8 middle schools accounted for only 1 student. I will point out, I'm running out of time, similar type of thing is also for the high school. I will point out, give me 25 seconds, a great improvement for the middle school was Bluffton. It went from 2 last year to 11 participants this year. From the high school, Battery Creek went from last year 1 participant to 8 this year. I have copies if anyone would like. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Miller. Okay. That, I think we're ready for executive session. So we'll, yep.
We need a motion to go to executive session.
Ooh. You making it, Mr.?
Yeah, but, yes. I move that we will go into executive session for the purpose of employment matter regarding personal ratification report for the employment matter regarding January personal ratification report for receipt of legal advice regarding pending claim covered by attorney-client privilege and discussions of negotiations incident proposed purchase of property in southern Beaufort County.
Okay. All right, properly motion.
And I have a question. Who will be advising us on this personal matter?
Personal ratification? Staff?
And then also, no, there's a receipt of legal advice
That's
pertaining.
Ms. Cartledge.
Huh, Ms. Cartledge, okay. Thank you.
Okay, properly motioned and second. All in favor going into executive session, say aye.
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 Opposed? Passes unanimously. Okay. Thank you. Okay, we are now back in session, and we have Mr. Nate.
Mr. Chair, we have two motions coming out of executive session. First one, I move that the Board of Education approve the superintendent's recommendations for employment listed on the December 1st, 2025 through December 31st, 2025 personnel ratification report.
Second.
Okay, properly motion and second. All in favor? Aye. Raise. Those online? All?
Mr. Guyer, Mr. Small, can you hear us?
Yes, I can.
Did you hear the motion? I move that the Board of Education approve the superintendent's recommendation for employment listed on the December 1, 2025 through December 31, 2025 personnel ratification report.
Second.
All in favor, raise your right hand. Unanimous here. Raise his hand. Mr. Small? Okay.
Second motion, I move that the Board of Education approve the superintendent's recommendations for employment listed on the January 1st, 2026 through January 31st, 2026 personnel ratification report.
Okay, motion and second by Ms. Boatright. All in favor, raise your right hand, saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Pass unanimously here. Okay, pass unanimously. Okay.
There's no other motions out of executive session. There.
Okay. This meeting is adjourned, and thank you all.